Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today I'm thrilled to introduce Will Ford. Will Ford is a crowdfunding expert, entrepreneur, and business leader who is passionate about bringing innovation to life. He is the president and co-founder of Launchboom, a tech-enabled consulting company that helps creators turn their consumer product ideas into profitable businesses through crowdfunding. Let's dive into the conversation and learn more about his unique perspective and experiences. Hi, Will. It's wonderful to speak with you today. I'm looking forward to hearing more about your journey.
Anishka, I'm really excited to be here and thanks so much for inviting me on your show.
Could you please tell us about your journey and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. That's kind of a loaded question, but I'll do my best to keep it short and sweet. So I like I studied hard in school and did the best I could in high school so I could get into the best business school. I always knew early on that I wanted to start my own business, and I knew in order to do that, I would need to learn as much about business as possible. So when I graduated from high school out in Boston, Massachusetts, I applied to a dozen different business schools around the country, and I was accepted to the University of Denver. They've got an incredible business school. And so I actually flew out to Colorado. I spent 4 years doing my undergrad at University of Denver. I learned a tremendous amount about business in the Daniel School of Business there. And once I graduated, I actually didn't go right into starting my own company. I wanted to, work for other entrepreneurs. I wanted to learn as much as possible until I really figured out what I wanted to do. And so I think, for me personally, and what I usually suggest to other younger entrepreneurs out there is that, study hard, take school serious, because if you can get into a really good business school, I really think anyone serious about entrepreneurship should really at least get an undergraduate degree in business management. I think just learning about business is like really, really important to take that big step, especially that first step as an entrepreneur. And so I encourage everyone listening to study hard, do as well as you can so you can get into a great business school. Once I graduated, I had a handful of different jobs, and I worked for other entrepreneurs. I learned as much as I could, and then I started my first company in 2009. So I was in my 20s. I worked for other people for about 4 years after I graduated. I started my first company, and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. I was able to raise a significant amount of investment to launch this business. And shortly after, within a year, I was acquired. And my equity I was bought out. And so that gave me some funding to start my second deal, which actually took me out to California. And so I was in California about 15 years ago, came to San Diego to start a branding and marketing company. That was a longer deal. That took me about 4.5 years to start, to scale, to grow. I eventually exited that company and went right into my third company. So now I'm in my early 30s and I start a company. I'll just dive into the details. I started my third company called Petbox. Petbox was e-commerce subscription company where I would ship boxes of toys and treats to pet owners all over America. And at the time when I started that company, this was back when influencer marketing was just getting off the ground, 2013, 2014. And so what I did was I just reached out to a lot of different celebrity, pet owners. I reached out to a lot of pet bloggers that had this massive amounts of followers. I was generally looking for pet influencers that had, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers. And I just sent them a message being like, hey, I'd love to send you a free pet box. All I ask in return is that you post, one positive review and add a link to my website so people can learn more about how to become a member. And I ended up building out that network, and I had about 1,000 different influencers that I was sending pet boxes to every single month all over the United States. And what was so interesting about that, Anishka, was how fast that business grew. So when I started Petbox, I started the old-fashioned way where I'd go to different pet events, and I'd pop up a tent, and I'd explain to people how to become a member, how to subscribe, and I would slowly kind of get customers that way, which was great. It was like a great way for me to talk to real pet owners, learn more about kind of like how to solve their needs, and help deliver a great experience to them. And then once I tapped into this influencer marketing, I'd say like the first 6 months I was able to get 1,000 monthly subscribers, which was awesome. I was literally having pet products delivered to my house. I was packing them in my garage, shipping them all over, like personally shipping them all over the country to my early subscribers. And then when I tapped into influencer marketing, I went from 1,000 monthly subscribers to over 50,000 monthly subscribers within my first year of business. And so then I had to figure out, okay, I can't keep shipping these boxes anymore. So that's when I learned about 3PL, and I was able to get a fulfillment center in the Midwest, so that I could just have all the products shipped to their warehouse. They could pick and pack and ship, the boxes on time to my 50,000 plus monthly subscribers. About 2 years after launching Petbox, I was actually acquired, which was awesome. And so as I was being acquired, that kind of led me into what I do today at Launchboom. So today I'm the president, I'm the co-founder of Launchboom. Launchboom is the largest crowdfunding platform in the world. We literally launch hundreds and hundreds of consumer products every year on Kickstarter, on Indiegogo, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. But what led me into starting Launchboom was, as I was exiting Petbox and going through that acquisition, a young student from UCSD, a super smart young entrepreneur, a guy named Kevin Liang, he somehow showed up at my office at Petbox, and he said, "Hey, Will, I've got a really cool product I want to launch on Kickstarter. I'd love to show you more about what tell you more about what I'm doing, and I'm looking for support." So he showed me this really cool aquaponic fish tank, and he goes, "I want to put $30,000 into pre-launch advertising, and I want to build my own community of people that are excited about my product through Facebook and Instagram advertising, so that when I launch on Kickstarter, I can have a much bigger campaign pre-sale." And so for all of you guys listening in that don't know what Kickstarter and Indiegogo are, they're the largest reward-based crowdfunding platforms in the world. And these two platforms have tens of millions of product enthusiasts from all over the world coming to these platforms every single month looking for cool new products. They're willing to pre-order those products at a discount off retail, and they're willing to wait as long as it takes for the entrepreneurs to manufacture and deliver that good experience. So for anyone out there looking to launch a really cool new consumer product, like a physical, tangible hardware type product, Kickstarter, Indiegogo are the best platforms today to basically take your product idea or prototype, and you can literally build a campaign page on Kickstarter, on Indiegogo, and you can pre-sell thousands of units to people all over the world. And then you get the money off the platform from those pre-sales after the 30-day campaign comes to an end. And now you have 6 to 12 months to figure out manufacturing and how to deliver that product to those backers. So it's a much safer, easier way to validate and test new product ideas faster with much less risk, which is what kind of made me gravitate towards those platforms in the first place. So I meet this young student from UCSD, and he's launching this product, and he goes, "Well, he's like, I'm a broke college kid. I need 30 grand. Can you help me?" So I basically helped him raise the $30,000 he needed so that he could put it into this pre-launch strategy of building his own community through Facebook and Instagram advertising, so that when he got to Kickstarter, he wanted to turn that $30,000 in advertising budget, he wanted to turn that into $300,000 in pre-sales on Kickstarter. And what was so cool was going through this Kickstarter launch with Kevin, we took that $30,000 ad budget and we turned it into $750,000 in pre-sales.
Wow.
And that for me was like when the light bulb went off, and I started to dig deeper into learning more about Kickstarter, Indiegogo, understanding like how real these platforms were and whether or not these platforms would be here 10 years later. And so I saw that the platforms were growing super fast. And more importantly, I realized that there was no one supporting the product creators, the entrepreneurs out there that are building their own consumer products. There was no agency or no resource for them to properly prepare and actually like work the same pre-launch system that Kevin and I did on his launch. So at this point, I bought launchboom.com on GoDaddy for $9.99. And I decided that I was going to build the world's largest crowdfunding platform to help thousands of product creators worldwide succeed in taking their product ideas through Kickstarter and Indiegogo and being able to maximize their pre-sale opportunities so that they could raise more than enough money to support the manufacturing, the delivery to their backers from Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and more importantly, have profit left over so they can reinvest into their continued growth and scale beyond crowdfunding, whether that's retail or Amazon or e-commerce. And so I started Launchboom. We were the first to start this type of service for product creators. And so it was really interesting in the beginning because I had to figure out how to find customers, how to find clients that were launching products. So I was able to leverage my personal network in the first year just to generate the first 15 clients so we could launch 15 products on Kickstarter and learn how to build this pre-launch system so that we could provide like a consistent experience for all of our clients worldwide eventually. And so that first year we learned a ton. And then in year 2, I literally went to Kickstarter's offices in Brooklyn, New York, and I said, hey, my name's Will Ford. I'm the president of Launchboom. This is why my campaigns are raising so much more money on your platform. I call it pre-launch, and I'd love to help more of your product creators. And so Kickstarter basically said, Will, this is awesome. We're still focused on growing our backer community so we can help more product creators raise more money, but we don't have any resource like yours. So why don't we make you a preferred partner and we'll start sending you even more product deals that need support. So I took the same story and I flew out to San Francisco and I met with Indiegogo's team in their headquarters. And I shared the same experience with why my campaigns were raising hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in pre-sales. And they replied the same way. They just said, Will, we love what you're doing. We're going to make you a preferred partner and we're going to start sending you a lot more campaigns. So shortly thereafter, within like my second year of business, we were the largest crowdfunding agency in the world. It was amazing. I mean, we were working with clients all over the world. Today we have clients in 50 countries, including the United States. And so it's really fun for me as an entrepreneur because I have multiple, businesses that I've founded and started myself, and I've raised all sorts of investment capital to support those previous companies. What's really fun and I'd say rewarding for me as an entrepreneur is Launchboom's the first company that I've self-funded. So I don't have any investors in Launchboom. I do have some incredible business partners, and I've got an awesome team here at Launchboom that's super dedicated, and they love supporting these entrepreneurs that we work with every single day. And what's so exciting is, we're in our 9th year of business now at Launchboom. And for me, what keeps me fired up and excited every day is I get to help entrepreneurs like you all over the world. I get to help them take their product ideas and turn them into not only huge product launches, but super valuable, profitable businesses beyond crowdfunding. And over the last 9 years, I've had dozens and dozens of clients, come to me with their very first product idea. And not only have I helped them maximize that crowdfunding campaign outcome, but I've seen many of them go on to scale, and some of them exit their companies for tens of millions. I've had a few clients exit for hundreds of millions of dollars. So to be able to help entrepreneurs that have that good idea, give them the best chance of succeeding with their launches, and then continue on to watch them grow and scale and develop these super profitable businesses, to see them eventually exit and get paid tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, is like the coolest thing in the world, Anishka, just being an entrepreneur myself. So that's what keeps me fired up and excited about the work I do here at Launchboom. Today, we are launching probably somewhere between 600 and 800 products this year, to give you an idea with like how large we are as a business. And we are today the world's largest crowdfunding platform that serves product creators and entrepreneurs that are looking to launch that first product, or maybe it's their 12th product. But whether it's a first-time entrepreneur looking to launch a product for the first time, or if it's an existing business looking to leverage crowdfunding to introduce new innovative products and tap into those massive communities on Kickstarter and Indiegogo to then kind of bring into their e-commerce platforms, or market their other products they may be selling on Amazon or through retail. It's just such a valuable experience, and it's also just such a valuable opportunity. So anyone out there who may be listening, if they're sitting on a product idea and they want to launch a consumer product, there's a good chance that we could probably help them here at Launchboom.
Wow, it's amazing how you helped so many young entrepreneurs launch their product. But it must have been hard as well, starting your business. What were the biggest challenges you faced in the early stages of your business, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, when I was starting Launchboom, you have to keep in mind that what I was doing did not exist. So the only thing that existed when I started Launchboom was Kickstarter and Indiegogo had these platforms that were raising hundreds of millions of dollars for entrepreneurs all over the world. But what I realized was that just having gone through the crowdfunding process myself on Kickstarter, for that first time with Kevin, I realized that I was trying to find a Launchboom. I was trying to find an expert that could help me prepare my product so that when I'd launch, I could control the outcome and actually raise the amount of money I needed to raise to be able to support my manufacturing and deliver a great product and experience to those backers on Kickstarter and Indiegogo, which is also a really important part of the process. So when I was starting, what I was doing had never been done before. And so there was a lot of learning, Anishka. And so to answer your question directly, when I first started Launchboom, the way we would maximize the campaign outcomes for clients, where we would run these advertisements on Facebook or in Instagram. And what we would do is we would run these ads showcasing the product. And then when people would click on the ads, we'd redirect them to a lead funnel where we would say, launching soon, be the first to know when we launch on Kickstarter, and all you have to do is submit your email, and we'll notify you as soon as we go live. And so when we were collecting those emails early on, the biggest frustration I had was that we would spend, thousands of dollars in advertising on Facebook and Instagram to build these email lists. But the problem with the email list was that they were only converting at about 3 to 4%. And that was pretty consistent. So I'd have to generate tens of thousands of emails in order to get like a 3 to 4% conversion in order to control the campaign outcome on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. And the way I would do that, and the way I still do that today, is once I would build that pre-launch list, let's just say we have 10,000 emails collected during pre-launch. 3% of that is 300 orders or 300 backers that I know would convert. So if my average order value was $100, and if I knew that I could generate 300 orders in the first, hour after I go live, I would basically set the campaign goal on Kickstarter at $30,000 because I knew I would definitely be able to get $30,000 raised in pre-sales in the first hour after launch. So that's more or less how I started, but it was frustrating because sometimes it would cost a huge amount of money to build an email list of 10,000 or more new enthusiasts about around the product. So during this time in 2015, it was around the time Elon Musk launched his Cybertruck. And when he launched the Cybertruck pre-sale, anyone could place a $100 reservation, and then they would be guaranteed first delivery off the production line once those Cybertrucks were produced. And so I was like, that's a really cool idea. I wonder if this would work in crowdfunding. So I basically invented this concept that we now call the reservation funnel. And so this was like probably the biggest breakthrough for us that really gave us a huge advantage in our industry with really helping product creators not only maximize their marketing and advertising budgets, but deliver much, much bigger campaign outcomes, because what we would do is we just added an extra step. So really early on, once we run the Instagram ad, the Facebook ad, and someone would click on it, we would direct them to what I call a reservation funnel. And what we would do is we would say, hey, thank you so much for your interest. We're launching soon on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. And if you're interested in getting the best deal, the lowest price and early delivery before we launch, all you have to do is give us a $1 money back guarantee reservation, and we're going to guarantee you the best deal today before we go live on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. And so what would happen is as soon as we would basically turn on those funnels, we would be able to generate much more qualified communities, because people don't transact even for a dollar unless they're serious about committing to a deal. So what ended up happening was that early email list that I'd built that would convert at like 3 to 4%. Once I introduced the reservation funnel, my funnel would convert at 30% or higher. So now I didn't need 10,000 emails. I could literally, if I have $1,000 reservations, I know that I'd have my 300 or more sales. And we would get a much, much stronger conversion. We'd also get a much better return on the advertising that would spend during pre-launch. So that was like probably one of the biggest challenges working through, was like building that reservation funnel, setting them up so that they would convert really well. But more importantly, help our clients raise even more money on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. So when we would launch, we could easily raise hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in pre-sales.
It's great how you got the idea of the reservation funnel and started something new in an area that didn't even exist before. So how do you describe crowdfunding for the people watching who don't know what it is? And what skills are necessary for it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So crowdfunding is a really big industry. So when it comes to crowdfunding, there's really like two major types. You've got equity crowdfunding. And equity crowdfunding is where the entrepreneur can say, hey, we value our company at $10 million. We're going to sell 10% of our company for $1 million. And now anyone out there that has access to these equity crowdfunding platforms can come in and become a shareholder. And they can come in and usually, own shares for hundreds of dollars, if not more. And so equity crowdfunding also has grown tremendously over the last decade. But our specialty here at Launchboom is what we call reward-based crowdfunding. So there's no equity being exchanged. All we do with reward-based crowdfunding is we're pre-selling product. That's it. And then what we do at Launchboom is we focus on pre-launch, which is setting up these campaigns ahead of time by doing the hard work, which is building these super engaged, super focused audiences of people ready to buy, so that when we get to Kickstarter or Indiegogo, we can actually control the outcome. So we can actually raise the amount of money that our clients need to support the manufacturing and the delivery. And if we do it well, also have some profit left over so they can reinvest in their continued growth and success after crowdfunding. So I'd say crowdfunding, and I could go down the rabbit hole if you want me to, but to keep it simple for everyone listening, there's equity crowdfunding, there's reward-based crowdfunding. Reward-based crowdfunding, the two biggest platforms in the world, the only platforms where we launch here at Launchboom, are on Indiegogo and on Kickstarter. The main reason why is because they have tens of millions of unique monthly visitors coming to their platform every single month looking for really cool, innovative products. And they're happy to give you money now, and they're happy to wait months for you to work through manufacturing and delivery. So it really is the best way for entrepreneurs to kind of test and validate new product ideas with way less risk. So they don't have to figure out manufacturing and make huge amounts of deposits and investments into their product idea before they validated that there's demand there, right? So I would say when it comes to experience, because of the platform we built at Launchboom, you really don't need much experience. Really what you need is that aha moment, or that product idea that you've been wanting to build, you've been wanting to create. And if you have a product idea, a consumer product idea that you're passionate about, all you have to do is just talk to someone on my team. And even if you don't know how to manufacture it, we have manufacturing partners, we have product design partners, so we can help you very easily take that idea that you may have sketched on a napkin and turn it into a realistic 3D render and eventually a prototype, and get the manufacturing set up as well. So I'd say anyone listening, like if you've got that really cool, innovative product idea, or if you've got a product innovation that you think would do better in any category, I would just recommend everyone go to launchboom.com, which is our website. And we have a tremendous amount of free education, so you can learn a lot there. And then if you want to speak to an actual person on my team to learn more about how to get support with manufacturing or product development, or how to get ready to launch on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, we can provide all that information here. So you don't really need any experience at all.
So essentially, is that why crowdfunding is a better way to raise funds? Is it because there's less risk and it's easier to do?
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you're launching a new product and you want to tap into the pre-sale opportunity on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, I would say 100%. Like, it's a much safer, it's way less risky. So, Anishka, what I haven't told you about is, like, when I used to launch products before Kickstarter and Indiegogo, the way it would work, the traditional model would be I would come up with a product idea, I would call a manufacturer, I would have to get to a prototype that could be manufactured. That process alone might cost me tens of thousands of dollars. Then I would have to dig deeper in my pocket, and I would want to place the largest volume order with my manufacturer. And the way most manufacturers operate is they want you to put 50% down up front, and then you can pay the 50% before they actually like manufacture and deliver that product. So in order to make better margins as a entrepreneur, you really want to place the largest volume manufacturing order you can. Because with economies of scale, if you place 100,000 units with a manufacturer versus 1,000 units, you're going to get a lower price per unit if you do a larger volume. So as an entrepreneur, I'd always want to place the largest volume order possible so I could get the best price break and then protect my profit margin. But the problem with that is that it's expensive to do that up front without any support or any funding. So, next thing I know, I'd be like $100,000 into a product, and I'd have all this product being manufactured, and then I would cross my fingers and pray that my marketing plan works, because if I can't find demand and if I can't get people to buy my product, now I'm stuck with thousands of units of product that I can't move, and I'm basically bankrupt before I've even started. And that's why, like, launching consumer products the traditional way was always so difficult and challenging. And that's honestly what got me so fired up and excited about Kickstarter and Indiegogo. I couldn't believe that I could take a prototype or a product design, and I could literally build a campaign page on Kickstarter or Indiegogo, and then I could basically pre-sell as many units as possible there, so that now I've got the money and the confidence to place that larger volume order. So it's just a much more efficient, a much safer, and much, much less risky way to validate and test any new consumer product idea. Really what we've done here at Launchboom is we've stepped in before Kickstarter, and we've come in earlier before Indiegogo, and what we've really done is we've built a product validation system. So now for very, very low cost, we're the lowest cost, most efficient, most effective solution in the entire industry today. What we've done is we've created a platform where any product creator can come into Launchboom, and within weeks, we can tell them whether or not they should put more time and money into it, because we know where the demand is and we know how to control the outcome on Kickstarter and Indiegogo to raise the amount of money they need to support the manufacturing and delivery. So that's the biggest challenge for any consumer product entrepreneur, is really getting the funding to support the manufacturing run and the delivery, especially that first one. And that's really where our focus is helping any consumer product creator out there learn as much as possible about the validation and whether or not there is demand. So really what we do, in essence, is we help entrepreneurs and product creators, we help them fail fast and fail cheap, right? So I wish I could be like, hey, Anishka, here's a few $1,000. Please tell me in a month from now whether or not I should put more time and money into this idea. That's more or less what we do at Launchboom. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does. Thank you. So what skills do you believe are essential for running a successful business?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different types of business models out there. So that's a loaded question, to be honest. I mean, if you were asking me, if I was like, hey, Anishka, I'm going to go launch a new AI platform, and I'm going to solve this major problem. Your first question as an investor would be like, well, Will, are you good at computer programming? Right? Like, are you a developer? What's your background? And personally, I don't have those skills personally. So, if I was pitching an entrepreneur on a new AI platform without having a team behind me that actually knows how to do the building and making that possible, I probably would have a hard time raising money to do that if I was to go raise money the traditional way. So that's why, I'd say my biggest advice for anyone listening, anyone who wants to start their own business or become an entrepreneur, my number one advice to anyone listening would be go to business school. Get a business degree, because if you can understand the fundamentals of how to operate and run a business, you can more or less run any type of business. And then, like I said earlier, if I was going to start an AI business today or tomorrow, what I would probably go do is I'd probably go look for the best AI developers out there, and then figure out a way to bring them in and be part of my team so I can make that happen. But the business background is the key. Knowing how to run, build, and operate a business is really important. And that applies to all business.
Okay, thank you. If you could go back in time, is there anything differently you would do about your business journey?
Anything I would do differently? Yeah, I'd say if I could go back in time, the only thing I would do different, well, to be honest, that's a great question. I wouldn't change anything. And the reason I wouldn't change anything is because you learn through experience. And even though I made a ton of mistakes, and like Anishka, I've made a tremendous amount of mistakes. Don't get me wrong. In this, as an entrepreneur, you're gonna fail. And if you're not failing, you're not innovating. You're not trying hard enough. But you're gonna fail. And all of my biggest learnings through my professional career have really been in my failings and my failures. Just because when you fail, it sucks, right? No one wants to fail at anything, but also when you fail, you don't want to do that again. So you learn the most valuable lessons through the failures. And so when I look back on my entrepreneurial career and the multiple businesses that I've started from the ground up, I've had some epic wins. I've had some awesome wins. I've also had some epic failures. And when I look back on everything I've learned and experienced, I'm most grateful for those failures, even though they were tough and it was super difficult and somewhat humiliating at times to go through those failures. That's where my best learnings came. And the culmination of my entrepreneurial journey is, in fact, what led me to starting Launchboom. Really, what Launchboom is for me today, it's a platform to help other entrepreneurs avoid the many headaches and the many failures that I've gone through. And so if I can meet entrepreneurs that are looking to launch cool new consumer products, if I can meet them earlier, it's usually more beneficial for them, because I can save them a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of heartache, a lot of headache that I've been through personally. So looking back on my entire experience as an entrepreneur, I just want everyone to know that it's okay to fail, and that's where you're going to learn, and that's where the growth comes from. So I hope that helps answer your question.
It does, thank you. That's a great purpose, wanting to help other entrepreneurs, and your journey is remarkable, and I've gained a lot from what you've shared. Do you have any final thoughts or advice you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah, I love what you're doing, Anishka. I think this is super cool. And really, I'd say anyone listening, especially if you're younger and you want to be an entrepreneur, I really think everyone listening, they're listening because they have an interest in entrepreneurship or starting their own business. And I think that's super valuable. I will say that anyone listening, again, if you haven't, made it to, college or university, I really encourage everyone here to definitely make it a point to major or get a degree in business management, right? Because I feel like in the future, especially at your age, Anishka, I think it's so important that everyone own their own business. Because if you can own your own business and you can succeed with your own business, you're going to generate so much more wealth than if you get a high paying job working for someone else your whole career. And I'll be honest, it's not easy. It's really, really hard. And you might fail. You might start a business and you might fail, and that's okay. You know, you can dust yourself off and start another business. You know, not every business is a win. I've been through my failures, and I've also been fortunate to have some big wins. And so that my number one advice to anyone listening would be like, definitely like learn as much as you can about business. And if you can get a degree in business, that's like probably like the most important thing. And then from there, don't be afraid to take the risk and to start your own business if you're passionate and you really believe in creating that business. But ultimately, I'd love to see more and more young people. I'd love to see them own their own business and have their own business opportunity, because if you succeed there, you can create massive amounts of wealth that will allow you to do so much more in life.
Okay, thank you so much, Will, for being here and sharing your amazing story.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. This was fun.